Okay, so we were looking at different circuits, and we were seeing how this multiplier circuit, just a single circuit, right? We looked at multiplier circuit, and with the help of this, we were able to have various applications, right? So we looked at this circuit where it has inputs X and Y, and the voltages across them were Vx and Vy, and the potentials being plus 15 and minus 15 volts, and the output V naught, right? And we saw that the output V naught was actually a multiplication of both the inputs Vx and Vy, and it was divided by the reference. So usually we were taking the reference to be about 10 volts, right? So with this, we saw how it's going to operate in the first quadrant if both are positive. Here, if one is positive and the other one was made to be positive and negative, and here both the inputs had the option to be either positive or negative. So two options, so they would cover all the four quadrants, right? So we were able to do this with the help of log, right? So we know the simple formula where Vx plus Vy, the logarithmic additions of both, okay, I can combine them and it becomes a multiplication. So exploring this option, I was able to get into the multiplication, and I was able to make use of these log amplifiers, okay, and summing them up, and ultimately this is going to be multiplied. And for the purpose of amplification and scaling, I was using the anti-log amplifier, right? So not only that, we looked into the squaring circuits, right? So how was this squaring circuits? We connected both the inputs, right? And then we were giving the voltage Vi, so that both the inputs were multiplied. So it's as good as Vx Vy. So here, since it is Vi, right? So both gets multiplied and it becomes Vi square divided by V reference, right? And we saw a few equations as well, right? Yeah. Okay. And uh, the next thing that we saw was the divider, right? So we were able to perform this divider function with the help of an op-amp and multiplier circuit. So inputs given here were Vx, Vz, right? So my V naught was actually Vz by Vx. So Vz divided by Vx, and minus because it's connected to the non-inverting terminal, right? And we saw some equations, we substituted Is value, right? And we were able to get this final equation, okay? Then we also saw how squaring can be done, right? We took the normal value, the Va is equal to V naught square. Why is it V naught square? Because V naught is connected, okay, both the inputs are connected together, so V naught into V naught divided by V reference. But we know that Va is actually minus of V in, whatever input voltage is given, right? Minus of V in. So ultimately this square, if I had to remove, then I had to use a square root. So square root function also was possible. So questions are going to be very simple, right? How would you use an op-amp, okay, to find out the square roots, right? So question would be as that sort. So you can probably use your circuitry and you can use your equations to explain your answer, right? So today, we'll be looking at instrumentation amplifier, right? Where we discuss the circuit step by step, right? It's actually a bigger circuit here, right? You can see that it's a complete bigger circuit. But first, we will just be studying this section, probably stage one. And then I'll be putting this circuit and one of these circuit, right, together. And then we will put them side to side and make it a complete instrumentation amplifier, right? So let us go back and we will study them one by one. Okay, instrumentation amplifier. So this is, as good as our difference amplifier that we saw, but there are some differences between the difference amplifier and the differential input output amplifier. So what are those differences? So you can see here there are two op-amps here, right? Op-amp number 1, and that is named as A1 with gain A. Okay, so it's A1, and op-amp number 2 with A2 and gain 2. So here I have resistors R1, R2 and R3. So R2 is in between R1 and R3, right? So I have junctions here between R1 and R2. This is one of my junction, and between R2 and R3, this becomes one of my junction. So the whole thing, okay, the whole thing is nothing but the differential voltage. And the voltage that I give, okay, to the first op-amp is called V1, and the voltage that I give to the second op-amp is called V2. Now this one is taken with reference to ground, right? And each op-amp has its plus VCC and minus V, plus VCC minus V, okay? And output, the total output is actually here. So we call it differential input and differential output because it has, two op-amps. So it's going to differentiate, the difference between the inputs. Now let us see step by step as to how exactly, it's going to differ comparing to your difference amplifier or differential amplifier. Okay. So the circuit of an amplifier that accepts a differential input voltage and produces a differential output. So we are going to see a differential input. So I'm going to give two types of inputs here, V1 and V2, and it's going to sense these differences. The circuit has many advantages over difference amplifier. So what are those advantages? So we will see them. Assume we are kind of assuming that between the junction of R2 and R3. Let me just put it across between R2 and R3. So let me just put it here. Or let me use the other one. Yeah. So let us assume that at this junction, okay, that I have highlighted here, okay, is grounded. Okay, so that junction is grounded. Let us assume that ground is connected here in this junction. Okay, so op-amp A1, so this is the op-amp which is at the top. Op-amp A1 together with resistors R1 and R2 now functions as a non-inverting amplifier. How is it non-inverting? See, because the ground is connected here, right? And I am giving my input here, and this is my plus terminal, and I'm getting a negative feedback here via R1, and of course I have R2. So my output, the final output is going to be across R1 and R2, right? So this is forming a feedback loop for me, right, from R1, and it is getting into the minus terminal of my op-amp A1, right? So I hope till this point it is clear. Now, okay, with resistors R1 and R2, now functions as a non-inverting amplifier, right? So this works actually as a non-inverting amplifier. Now I've told you the reason why is it called as a non-inverting amplifier. The input to A1 is developed across R2, right? Is developed across R2, and the voltage gain will be R1 plus R2 divided by R2. Usually, at the denominator, right? At the denominator, we take the resistor which is not in the feedback loop. Now, if I'm taking, say, R2 and R3 and considering A2, so it becomes R3 plus R2, okay, divided by R2, right? So here I am doing the same thing, R1 plus R2 divided by R2. I'm not taking divided by R1, okay, I'm not taking divided by R3, but then I'm taking the other resistor which is not in the feedback loop directly. Similarly, if the junction of resistors R1 and R2, let us assume that the junction of this resistor, R1 and R2 now is grounded. Now let us shift our focus to the other junction, right, which I am highlighting here in this blue, right? So let us assume that this point is grounded now, right? So if this point is grounded between R1 and R2, then op-amp A2 and resistors R2 and R3 behave as non-inverting amplifier. So here also it's a non-inverting amplifier because I'm having a negative feedback and the input is given to my positive terminal, right? So ultimately I'm getting these equations here, okay, which is R1 plus R2 divided by R2 and R2 plus R3 divided by R2. Okay, so this is just to understand that, you know, at this point I am you know, making it grounded, okay, just for you to understand, right? So the main thing that you have to understand here is, you know, in the feedback loop, right, you have R1 and here you have R3, and how your equations are going to impact when it's connected to ground. That is what you have to understand, right? Okay, now let us look at some equations. I have brought forward the same figure, right? And we'll see how this figures holds good and how this equations holds good. Because of the non-inverting amplifier configuration of both A1 and A2, now that we know, right, A1 is working as a non-inverting amplifier and A2 is also working as a non-inverting amplifier, okay? So the voltage across junction R1 and R2 is equal to the input voltage V1, right? So V1 across R1 and R2, so VR1, okay, the voltage across R1 and the voltage across V1. Why? Because here if one terminal is connected to plus and the other one to with reference to ground. And here also if I'm connecting to ground, which means that, you know, we are going to have you know, the same potential which is going to be uh, replicating, which is in the input side, isn't it? So that is what we have to understand. Okay, so whatever you have here at the input side, okay, so the same thing comes and sits here at the output side because it is as good as a virtual ground, right? Just I'm connecting a ground for the purpose of understanding, right? So so the voltage at junction of R2 and R3 equals input V2. Now this is important, right? So you have to understand across R1 and R2 it is replicating the voltage of V1, okay? Between R1 and R2 it is replicating the voltage V1. Let me just you know, annotate it. So here the one you see in brown, right, will be equal to V1, right? And let me use the other one. Between R2 and R3 actually equals whatever potential you have at V2. I hope now it's, you know, pretty clear, right, as to how these are actually replicating the voltages at the input side. See, ultimately you should understand op-amp, you know, it's able to replicate whatever voltages at the input side towards the output along with, you know, massive gain. Okay, consequently the voltage across resistor R2, okay, so VR2 is equal to, so since here it is equal to V1 and since here it is equal to V2, I can just directly write V1 minus V2, which is nothing but the differential input. So this is an important formula, right? So please make note of this. Okay, VR2, okay, the voltage across VR2 is nothing but the differences between the potentials that we have received across the inputs, which is V1 and V2. Now, the current flowing in R2. So what is going to be the current? Now, you know, we have seen that it's going to be the difference between both, right? And now let us find out what is going to be the current. So the current flowing in R2 can be calculated as, so I2 is equal to VI divided by R1, right? So that's how we are able to see that you know, I2 is going to be formed. So the differential output voltage, so V0 is equal to, So my total V naught, right? I have VR1, VR2, VR3, and my total V naught is actually the addition of all these, right? VR1 plus VR2 plus VR3. So at different points, I'm actually getting these voltages, right? So VR1 is with respect to A1, right? And VR3 is with respect to A2. And VR2 is kind of a combination, right? The differences between 1 and 3. So ultimately, I can say that, it is I2 into, so V is equal to IR, right? So I2 into R1 plus R2 plus R3, right? Or I can also put it as V naught is equal to, VI by R2. Why? Because I2 is equal to VI by R1. So I2 I'm substituting and I get this formula. Right. So I hope you have understood this concept, isn't it? So V naught is equal to VI by R2. So R2 is playing a very major role. Understand here, students. If I try to vary the value of R2, then it's going to impact I2. So if it's impacting I2, then it's totally going to impact my output voltage. So there's a massive relation between R2, I2, and V naught. So I can say that, the controller here is going to be resistor R2. Fine. Now, now we will look at the closed loop, right? So how this closed loop is going to work. The closed loop differential voltage for the circuit is, so ACL, which is closed loop gain, and DIF, that is differential. So when I say differential, it means I am trying to give two types of inputs, and there's going to be a difference between both of them across the output, right? Just like how we have V1 here and V2 here, right? So what's going to be my differential, closed loop differential gain? It's going to be output by input. So output here, we know that it is R1 plus R2 plus R3, right? Divided by R2. So you can see it is getting divided by R2. So which means R2 is playing a very major role. So that's an important formula, right? You can make note of this. Remember, I was telling you, it's important to make note of the formulas. It's going to help you for your examinations. So usually what we do is, we try to maintain R1 and R3 to be the same value, right? Suppose I take this as 10K, and I'm going to make R3 also to be as 10K. The reason why is because, I have two op-amps and I want them to be identical, right? So I'm giving the same plus VCC and minus V, same plus VCC and minus V. And of course, I'm going to, as much as possible, try to give the same voltages, V1 and V2, but there's going to be slight difference. But the resistors also, I would like to make them same. So what I'm trying to say here is, I'm going to make them as identical as possible. Okay. So my gain is going to change here, right? Because R1 is equal to R3, right? So if I substitute here R1 and R3, right? So it becomes 2 times of R1 plus R2. So either I can make it 2 times of R3 or 2 times of R1, but I want to bring it in the form of R1 and R2 to make it more simple, right? So this is going to be my final form now. The voltage gain can be altered by adjusting, this is important, right? I mentioned about this. The voltage gain can be altered by adjusting the resistor R2. So this resistor plays a very major role, right? I can actually change its values, and ultimately when I change, then it is going to help in changing the complete gain of this differential input output amplifier stage. Okay. So like all amplifiers with the differential input, the common mode gain of differential input output amplifier is an important quantity. So just like the other amplifiers, we see here that the differential input output amplifier output is also an important quantity. Why is it an important quantity? Because it's able to sense the differences between voltages V1 and V2. Now, if I talk about the difference amplifier, right? So we are just not having another op-amp, just single op-amp. But here, when I talk about differential input-output amplifier, it has two op-amps, and this is pretty complex and pretty advanced compared to your difference amplifiers. Okay, right. Now let us look at a different form, right? So you can see here the setup was different. I had two op-amps, right? One resistor connected with the feedback network and the other resistor connected here in the other feedback network. And between them, I had one resistor. And of course, two inputs, one with respect to ground, and three output voltages, subsets of output voltages. So VR1, VR2, and VR3, right? Now let us look at a different format. So this is a differential input output amplifier. Okay, so this actually passes common voltage, right? So common voltage. So there we had different voltages. Exclusively here we were giving V1, and here we were giving V2. And you can see that R1 is a part of this feedback network here, and R3 is also part of the feedback network here. And in between, I have the resistor R2, right? So if you can compare both the previous circuit and here, okay, we are just giving one type of potential here, right? Unlike the previous one, we are giving V1 and V2 here. V1 was given across op-amp 1, and V2 was given across op-amp 2, right? So we are not doing that here. We are trying to make some kind of modification, okay? And we are connecting both the plus terminals and just giving them one voltage. And this voltage is given with respect to ground, right? And I call it as VN, VN, okay? Now here, interestingly, we can get different voltages at different points. So Vn is taken here at this point, output of op-amp 2, and I get Vn even here from the feedback network, of op-amp 1, and the total output of op-amp 1. So this is the circuit here, right? Small changes to the input, but still, there's going to be a major impact towards the output side. Okay, suppose there are two inputs that are connected together and common mode voltage. So this common mode voltage is actually called Vn. Okay, common mode voltage is called Vn. Just make note of these, abbreviations. Okay, common mode voltage Vn, because we will be needing them to understand. Okay, so the junction of R1 and R2 will be at the same voltage as in the non-inverting input of terminal A1. So just like R1 and R2 junction, so we're going to have the same voltage. So you can see Vn, 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 Vn. Okay, so regardless of where I take the potential, it's actually going to be the same. So pretty interesting, just with a small minor change that I have done across the input voltage, which is given as Vn. Okay, so yeah, and the junction of R2 and R3 will be at the same voltage as the non-inverting input of A2. So what we are trying to say? We are trying to say that both the resistor junctions will be at Vn voltage, okay, with respect to ground. So this is pretty interesting, right? So even here I'm getting Vn, 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 and Vn. No matter at what point I just connect with respect to ground, it's going to be the same, right? So there will be no flow of current through R1, R2, and R3. Now this is again challenging, right? I'm not going to have I2 here, unlike previously seen configuration where R2 was the complete controller, right? Okay. And the output voltage of each amplifier will be Vn volts. This means the common mode gain is going to be 1, right? So common mode gain is going to be 1. So the common mode signals will be passed through but not amplified by the differential input output amplifier. So whatever potentials that I have here, the same thing are just passed, but then there is no amplification at all. So we need this kind of setup where we just need to pass the input values across output. Okay, if in case we need some kind of amplification, then we can look at the previous configuration, right? So that is one difference here that you can see based on the common mode input. Now let me try to put them together here, right? The differential input output amplifier is here at the top, right? And at the bottom, I have a common difference amplifier. So we have seen this difference amplifier, right? We have even solved few problems based on this, right? Where I give two different potentials here, and then I just have one single op-amp. I'm not going to use this kind of differential input output. So the major thing that we are trying to do here is I'm just going to take one part from here. I'm going to take this part and I'm going to connect them together and make it a complete instrumentation amplifier. So we are reaping the benefits of both differential input output amplifier and the difference amplifier. So we are trying to make it a complete instrumentation amplifier, right? So let us look at it. The resistance at each input terminal of differential input output amplifier is extremely high. So you can understand here the input resistance which is across differential input output amplifier. Now I hope that you know the difference between differential and the difference amplifier, right? So this is going to be our differential. Okay, and this is going to be our difference amplifier. So I'm going to combine both of these circuits and make it a single amplifier, a complex and a proper working amplifier. So we can see that the resistance at each input terminal, right? So I can probably call it as Ri. When I see through the op-amp, okay, between the terminals positive and negative. So when I see through, so it's called as Ri, and here also it's called Ri. So the resistances are very high, right? So yeah, is extremely high, the resistance at each input, because of the non-inverting amplifier configuration. So why are these resistances high? Because of the non-inverting. How is it non-inverting? Again, you have to get back to our explanation, which is between the junctions R2 and R3 I make it grounded, and between R1 and R2 I make it grounded, and then I check and then I get different values and then the formulas, right, where we had R1 plus R2 plus R3 divided by R2. So my total output voltage. Fine. Now the input resistance of this difference amplifier, now let us say Ri1 is equal to R1 at input terminal 1, and similarly Ri2, okay, let us take this as Ri2 is equal to R3 plus R4 at terminal 2. So here when I look at this difference amplifier, right, Ri is actually going to be R1, okay, it's going to be R1, and that is at terminal 1, and Ri2, okay, so let's take this as Ri2, it is actually with the help of R3 and R4 at terminal 2. So R3 and R4. So here it is taking the resistance from the differential input output as well as the difference amplifier. So you can see that R1 from here, okay, this Ri1 is actually only with R1, and Ri2 is with R3 and R4, okay, because this circuit is going to come and sit here. Okay, let me just draw it, right? So this circuit, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come and place it here. Okay, so they are going to be side by side. The voltage gain of the differential input output amplifier can be changed by adjusting only one resistor, which is R2. So we are very much aware that, if in case I just vary the values of this R2, right, the differential input output amplifier gains can change. So how is it going to change? Because it's going to be R1 plus R2 plus R3 divided by R2. So R2 is going to be playing a major role here, right? Now, changing the gain of this difference amplifier, okay, requires that I need to play with R2 and R4. So R2 from here and R4 from here, if in case I want to change the gain of this difference amplifier, right? So if not, then if I just want to change the gain of differential, then I'm going to change R2. But here for this difference amplifier, it is dependent on R4 and R2 both, because it's a combination. This becomes first stage and this becomes the second stage, right? Okay, to maintain equal amplification of both inputs. Now, the common mode gain of the differential input output amplifier is 1. Now, remember when we gave common mode, that is, I connect both of these and then I just give one single input, right? So that makes a common mode. So in that configuration, right, I'm looking at the gain as 1 because ACL was equal to 1, right? But here the common mode gain is going to be 0, right? Right. So the gain is going to be 1 when we are talking about a differential input output amplifier, right? So the amplifier that you see in the upper section, and it is going to be 0 for this difference amplifier. So we can see that the differential input output amplifier operates with a floating load. So this is like a floating load that we can say. While the difference amplifier uses a grounded load. So here you can see it has a grounded load. So why is it a floating load here? Because it is connected between R3 and R1. There is no ground at all, right? But here you can see that this RL is connected to ground. So here it's a floating load and here it becomes a grounded load. So I hope now you have got a complete idea as to what is a differential input output amplifier and what is a difference amplifier. So I feel differential input output amplifier is pretty advanced, right? Where I can just with the help of R2 I can change its gain and I can make sure that the values does differ at a greater extent. And the best part is I'm going to get 1 as my gain, right, as my complete output gain when I give a common mode connection. But then I cannot expect that in difference amplifier. Now let's combine them together, right? And this is going to be your complete instrumentation amplifier. So stage 1, right? Stage 1 is going to be the first section that we learned, right? Which is nothing but the differential input output amplifier, right? And stage 2 is going to be the simple difference amplifier. Okay, so let me just put it like this. Fine. So we have 2 different stages here. Okay, both connected back to back. Fine. So the instrumentation amplifier is as shown here. So together it's called an instrumentation amplifier. If you just draw this section, the one in purple, right, it's going to be only the differential input output amplifier, and the one if you draw in green is just going to be a difference amplifier, or the normal differential amplifier that we have studied. Okay, so when you combine them both, okay, that becomes a complete instrumentation amplifier. Okay, so it's a combination of both, as I mentioned, right, stage 1 and stage 2. And the difference amplifier uses differential input output amplifier to drive the grounded load. Okay, so we have a grounded load here, right? So this is actually going to drive it. Okay, so I am going to connect one of the outputs of the stage 1, okay, towards the input. So you can see I4 is here, and you can see that I5 or I6 at the bottom is here. Okay, so both are connected to the terminals, the outputs and the inputs. So this is how stages are connected. The output of first stage is connected to the input of the second stage. Fine. So here I don't have an RL, right? You can see RL is not here, right? But then I just have RL here, and this is going to be a grounded load. Okay. Fine. So we have an adjustable voltage gain. Okay. So this becomes my R2. So it's like, you know, variable resistance. Okay. A variable resistance of R2. And either I increase or decrease the currents, I2 will change. And similarly, I4 and I6 that are entering into op-amp also does change. Okay. And one more thing that you can see here is the common mode nulling via R7. So R7, okay, R7 can actually be another variable resistance here. Okay, so this and R2 in differential input output amplifier, and R7 in difference amplifier. So why are we doing this? In order to, you know, cut off the common mode nulling. Okay, common mode changes that we are going to give here in differential input output amplifier. Now for instrumentation purpose, most loads have one grounded terminal. Otherwise, ground loops and static electricity could cause problems. So the reason why we just have one ground is because from one stage to another stage, it should just be passed on. If in case I don't have a ground here, then it's going to cause, you know, static electricity. Now, I think you would have seen, you know, computers, if you have just connected, you know, usually it used to happen in the older, you know, previously used to desktops, where when the power cable is just plugged in and then you don't use it for a long time, even though you turn it on, it doesn't turn on, and then probably you'll have to turn off the switch and then unplug those wires and, you know, wait for some time. That's because the static charges are accumulated in the wire, right, from your plug point to the CPU, right? So, you know, this was followed, you know, previously, and these days, you know, due to proper circuitry methods, right, so we are able to tackle that issue. Fine. So one of the reasons that we are going to, you know, have this kind of setup where we're not having a grounded setup here is because in order to have, or, you know, control the static electricity. So the ability to drive a grounded load is necessary. So, you know, ability to drive a grounded load is necessary. So this load is grounded. So the differential input output amplifier, the one in purple, offers a very high input resistance. Why is it offering a very high input resistance? That's because we have already studied it's working in non-inverting configuration. The voltage gain of the complete circuit. Now, I would say, you know, I am summing up things, and this is going to be my final formula, right? So ACL, okay, the final gain of my closed loop circuit is going to be ACL1 and ACL2. Now ACL1 is actually referring to the stage 1, okay, and similarly ACL2 is referring to stage 1, and similarly ACL2 is referring to the stage 2. Okay, right. ACL1 is the voltage gain of stage 1 and ACL2 is the stage 2 gain. Now here also, as you can see, as I've already mentioned, R2 is going to play a major role. Okay, with the adjustment of R2, I'm going to be able to change this overall gain. So overall gain here is going to be ACL, right? And the common mode signal attenuation for this instrumentation amplifier is provided by the difference amplifier. So by the difference amplifier, we're able to get that. Okay, so this can also be maximized. Okay, the gain can also be maximized here with the help of the variable resistance R7, right? So we learned about this section separately, which is differential input output section. And then we also learned about, the difference amplifier here. So we are combining them together and we get a total amplifier, and that is called your complete instrumentation amplifier. So we will be looking into a few problems also in our upcoming classes, right? We will try to apply the formula and try and check how to, change the range, and how to look at the resistors. Okay, what kind of resistors needs to be chosen, right? And what are going to be the voltages across. So we will exclusively see them with the problems, right? So I hope all of you have understood. And yeah, so I think we'll end this session now, right? And we will catch up in our next session.